Ethan Brooks had spent most of his 17 years believing that some people were simply born to blend into the background. He wasn't the star quarterback. He wasn't the class president. He wasn't the funniest student or the smartest one in Riverside High School. He was just Ethan, the quiet boy who always sat in the last row of the classroom, the boy who preferred sketching buildings in his notebook instead of joining loud conversations. The boy most classmates forgot was even there. That never really bothered him. He had grown comfortable being invisible, at least until the first Monday of his senior year. The classroom door opened just before the morning bell. Their history teacher walked inside with a girl no one had ever seen before. "I'd like everyone to welcome our new student," the teacher said with a smile. "This is Lily Carter." Every head in the classroom turned. Lily smiled politely. She had long brown hair, bright green eyes, and the kind of confidence that immediately drew attention without her even trying. Within seconds, several boys were whispering, "She's beautiful. I hope she sits next to me. I heard she transferred from Seattle." The teacher looked around the room. The only empty seat is beside Ethan. Ethan almost dropped his pencil. Lily walked toward him. "Hi, I'm Lily." She smiled as she sat down. "I'm Ethan." For the rest of the lesson, Ethan barely remembered what the teacher had said. He was too busy wondering why someone like Lily kept smiling every time he accidentally looked in her direction. After class, several popular students immediately surrounded her. "If you need help finding your classes, you should sit with us at lunch. We're having a party this weekend." Lily thanked them politely. Then, to everyone's surprise, she walked away, straight toward Ethan. "Do you always eat lunch alone?" she asked. He looked embarrassed. "Usually. Mind if I join you?" Ethan blinked. "You want to?" She laughed softly. "Only if that's okay." 5 minutes later, they were sitting beneath a large oak tree near the football field. Instead of awkward silence, the conversation flowed naturally. They talked about music, favorite movies, books, drawing. When Ethan admitted he dreamed of becoming an architect someday, Lily's eyes lit up. "No way. That's my dream too." He looked at her in surprise. "Seriously?" She nodded enthusiastically. "My dad's an engineer. I've loved buildings since I was little." Ethan smiled. For the first time that day, he forgot to be nervous. Over the following weeks, they became inseparable. Every afternoon after school, they met in the art classroom. Sometimes they sketched famous buildings. Sometimes they designed imaginary cities together. Other times, they simply talked about life, about family, about the future. For Ethan, those afternoons quickly became the best part of every day. His classmates noticed. "So," his best friend Noah teased one afternoon, "you and Lily?" Ethan nearly choked on his drink. "We're just friends," Noah laughed. "If that's what you want to call it." Meanwhile, Lily seemed completely comfortable around Ethan. She laughed at his terrible jokes, borrowed his hoodies when classrooms were too cold, texted him every morning before school. Even Ethan's mother noticed. "I've never seen you smile this much." He looked away. "She's just a friend." His mother smiled knowingly. "If you say so." October arrived. The school announced its annual Autumn Lantern Festival. Students would spend the evening beside Crystal Lake, releasing floating lanterns into the water. It was the biggest event of the year. Couples looked forward to it for months. Noah immediately nudged Ethan. "You have to ask Lily." "I can't." "Why not?" "What if she says no?" Noah rolled his eyes. "Ethan, she spends every day with you. She literally waits for you after every class. I think your chances are pretty good." Even so, Ethan couldn't gather the courage. The festival arrived before he made a decision. As the sun disappeared beyond the trees, hundreds of students gathered around the lake. Music filled the cool autumn air. Lanterns reflected across the water like tiny golden stars. Ethan stood quietly near the shoreline. Then he heard a familiar voice behind him. "I've been looking everywhere for you." He turned. Lily was wearing a simple cream-colored sweater beneath a light brown coat. She looked beautiful. They walked together along the lake in comfortable silence. Neither of them seemed to know what to say. Finally, Lily stopped walking. She looked down at the lantern in her hands, then back at Ethan. "There's something I've wanted to tell you." His heart started racing. "I've liked you for a long time." She smiled nervously. "Actually, I think I've liked you since the first day we met." For a moment, The entire world seemed to disappear. No music, no voices, no crowd, only Ethan and Lily standing beneath hundreds of glowing lanterns. Ethan took a deep breath. I like you too. I just never thought someone like you could ever like someone like me. Lily stepped closer. What does someone like me even mean? He looked down. You're amazing. She smiled warmly. So are you. Before Ethan could say another word, Lily gently reached for his hand. Their fingers intertwined. Above them, hundreds of lanterns drifted into the night sky. Neither of them realized that this beautiful beginning would one day lead to the hardest goodbye of their young lives. The morning after the Autumn Lantern Festival, Ethan woke up smiling for the first time in months. His phone buzzed before he even got out of bed. Lily, good morning, boyfriend. Ethan stared at the message for several seconds before laughing quietly to himself. He typed back, good morning, girlfriend. Within seconds, another message appeared. Meet me at the front gate before school? Always. From that day forward, everything seemed brighter. How they walked into school together every morning. They shared lunch beneath the old oak tree. After classes ended, they spent hours in the art room sketching dream houses, bridges, and city skylines. Sometimes they worked in silence. Sometimes they laughed so hard that the art teacher had to remind them other students were still trying to concentrate. Neither of them minded. For Ethan, ordinary days had become unforgettable simply because Lily was there. One rainy afternoon, the electricity suddenly went out during art class. The room became dim except for the gray light filtering through the windows. Most students groaned and packed their bags. Lily smiled. Looks like we can't finish our drawings. Ethan shrugged. We could always continue somewhere else. Like where? My house. She raised an eyebrow. Your parents won't mind. My mom usually loves having guests. Lily laughed. Then let's go. When they arrived, Ethan's mother welcomed Lily with homemade cookies and hot chocolate. So this is the famous Lily. Ethan nearly dropped his backpack. Mom? What? You talk about her every day. Lily couldn't stop laughing. Ethan buried his face in his hands. I can't believe you just said that. His mother winked. I'm just telling the truth. The embarrassment quickly faded as the four of them spent the afternoon talking, drawing, and laughing around the kitchen table. Before Lily left, Ethan's mother quietly pulled him aside. She's a wonderful girl. I know. Don't ever make her feel like she isn't important. Ethan nodded without fully understanding why his mother sounded so serious. I won't. Weeks passed. Autumn slowly gave way to winter. As Christmas decorations appeared around town, Ethan and Lily began creating new traditions together. Every Friday after school, they visited the same little diner. They always ordered one chocolate milkshake with 2 straws. The elderly waitress smiled every time they walked in. The usual? They both answered at the same time. The usual. One evening, while snowflakes drifted outside the diner windows, Lily reached into her backpack. I got you something. She handed Ethan a neatly wrapped package. You didn't have to. I wanted to. Inside was a leather sketchbook with his initials carefully engraved on the cover. Ethan ran his fingers across it. It's beautiful, Lily smiled. So are the drawings you're going to fill it with. Ethan looked at her. I didn't get you anything. She shook her head. You already did. What? You believe in my dreams. No one has ever done that before. Her words stayed with him long after that night. As winter break approached, the school announced a couples photography contest. Students were encouraged to submit a photo representing young love. Noah immediately signed Ethan and Lily up without asking. You two are definitely entering, Ethan groaned. We're going to lose. Lily smiled. Maybe, but it'll be fun. On the day of the photo shoot, they returned to the oak tree where they had first eaten lunch together. The photographer asked them to stand closer. Look at each other. Neither of them had to pretend. Their smiles came naturally. Just as the camera clicked, a gentle breeze scattered golden leaves around them. It became the winning photograph. When the results were announced, the entire school applauded. Their picture was displayed in the main hallway with a small plaque beneath it. Sometimes love begins with a simple conversation. Every time they walked past it, Lily squeezed Ethan's hand. I still can't believe we won. Ethan smiled. I can. Spring semester arrived faster than either of them expected. With graduation only months away, college applications became the center of everyone's conversations. One afternoon, their guidance counselor called them into her office. "I've reviewed both of your portfolios." She smiled proudly. "You're two of the strongest architecture applicants this school has ever had." Lily grinned. Ethan looked relieved. Then the counselor continued. "Lily, there's one more thing." She handed Lily a large envelope. "The Pacific School of Architecture has offered you an interview for their presidential scholarship." Lily's eyes widened. "The full scholarship?" The counselor nodded. "Full tuition. Housing. International study opportunities. It's one of the most competitive programs in the country." Ethan forced a smile. "That's amazing." "It really is." But as they walked home together that afternoon, he couldn't ignore the small knot forming in his stomach. The university was nearly 2,000 miles away, farther than either of them had ever traveled. Lily noticed his silence. "You're thinking too much." He smiled weakly. "I'm happy for you." "I know." She stopped walking and took both of his hands. "No matter what happens, we'll figure it out together." Ethan nodded. "I promise." He truly believed those words. He had no idea that, in just a few months, he would be the one to break that promise. Spring arrived with warmer mornings, blooming flowers, and a growing sense that time was moving far too quickly. Graduation was only 8 weeks away. Every student seemed to be talking about college acceptance letters, scholarships, and plans for the future. For Ethan, those conversations became harder to enjoy. One afternoon, Lily ran across the school courtyard holding a large white envelope. "Ethan!" He turned just as she threw her arms around him. "I got it!" He laughed. "You got what?" "The scholarship." She held up the letter with tears in her eyes. "The presidential scholarship. I actually got it." For a second, Ethan simply stared at her. Then he hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you." "I knew you could do it." She buried her face against his shoulder. "I couldn't have done it without you." Students around them clapped as the news spread through campus. Teachers congratulated her. The principal even announced her achievement over the school intercom. Everyone was celebrating. Everyone, except Ethan. That evening, Ethan sat alone in his bedroom staring at his own college application portal. Another rejection. His dream university had declined his application. The local state college had accepted him, but it wasn't where he had imagined spending the next 4 years. His phone buzzed. "Lily, dinner with my parents tonight. They want you to come celebrate." Ethan looked at the screen for a long moment. He typed, "I'd love to," then erased it. Instead, he replied, "I'm sorry. Mom isn't feeling well tonight. Rain check?" The message wasn't true. It was simply easier than admitting he didn't feel like celebrating while his own dream was falling apart. Over the next few weeks, Ethan slowly began changing. He didn't notice it at first. Neither did Lily. He replied to her texts a little later than usual. He skipped a few afternoon drawing sessions. He smiled less, laughed less. Whenever Lily asked if something was wrong, his answer never changed. "I'm just tired." She wanted to believe him, but she knew him too well. One Friday afternoon, Noah found Ethan sitting alone in the empty gym. "You've been avoiding her." "I haven't." "You have." Ethan stayed silent. Noah sat beside him. "So what's really going on?" Ethan looked toward the basketball court. What if I'm not enough for her?" Noah frowned. "What are you talking about? She's going to one of the best universities in the country. I'm staying here. She's going to meet brilliant people, successful people, people who actually belong in her world." Noah sighed. "Ethan, you're creating problems that don't even exist. You don't understand." "No, I think you don't." A week later, Riverside High hosted Career Day. Former graduates returned to share stories about college life. One speaker smiled at the audience. "High school relationships rarely survive long distance." Several students laughed. "It's just reality. You grow. You change. You meet new people." The words echoed in Ethan's mind for the rest of the day. That evening, he couldn't stop thinking about them. Maybe everyone else already knew something he refused to accept. The following Saturday, Ethan accompanied Lily to the university's scholarship ceremony. The campus was breathtaking. Modern buildings stretched across rolling green hills. Students hurried between classes with confidence and excitement. Lily looked around with sparkling eyes. "It's beautiful. It really is." She slipped her hand into Ethan's. "Imagine us here someday." He forced a smile. "Yeah." But inside, he couldn't imagine it at all. Everywhere he looked, he saw people who seemed smarter, more talented, more confident. He felt completely out of place. As they walked across the campus courtyard, two architecture professors approached Lily. "You must be Miss Carter. We've reviewed your portfolio. It's extraordinary." One professor smiled warmly. "We expect great things from you." Then they looked at Ethan. "And you are." Before Ethan could answer, Lily proudly said, "This is my boyfriend." The professors shook his hand politely before continuing their conversation with Lily. Ethan barely spoke another word for the rest of the visit. That night, after dropping Lily off at home, Ethan sat in his car outside his house for nearly an hour. His father eventually came outside. "You've been sitting here a while." Ethan nodded. His father climbed into the passenger seat. "Tough day?" "I don't think I'm good enough." His father remained quiet. "For Lily? For the future? For any of this?" His father looked at him carefully. "You know what destroys more dreams than failure?" Ethan shook his head. "Fear. Fear convinces good people they don't deserve happiness." Ethan stared through the windshield. "What if fear is right?" His father smiled sadly. "It almost never is." The next afternoon, Lily invited Ethan to the old oak tree after school. She spread a blanket beneath the branches and unpacked sandwiches, fruit, and 2 bottles of lemonade. "A picnic?" She grinned. "We've both been stressed. I thought we deserved a break." For the first hour, everything felt normal again. They laughed, talked about graduation, sketched ideas for a tiny dream house they hoped to build one day. Then Lily suddenly became serious. "Ethan?" He looked up. "I need you to promise me something." "What?" "No matter where college takes us, no matter how difficult things become, don't ever shut me out." He looked into her hopeful eyes. "I need us to face problems together." She reached for his hand. "Can you promise me that?" Ethan squeezed her hand gently. "I promise." Lily smiled with relief. She believed him completely. Neither of them knew. That promise would be broken before graduation day. Graduation was only 3 weeks away. The entire school buzzed with excitement. Students talked about prom, final exams, and the beginning of a brand new chapter. But for Ethan, every day felt heavier than the last. He smiled when Lily was around. He laughed when she told stories. He held her hand. Yet deep inside, fear continued growing. It whispered the same lie over and over again. Soon, she'll realize she deserves someone better. One afternoon, Ethan walked into the library to return a book. As he turned the corner, he heard 2 girls talking nearby. "Did you hear about Lily?" "No." "What happened?" "She's leaving for Pacific University." "So?" "I heard one of the scholarship students already asked her out online." "What?" "Yeah, my cousin goes there. They're all saying she's way too pretty to stay with a hometown boyfriend." The girls laughed. Ethan quietly turned around before they noticed him. He knew they were only rumors, but rumors had a way of becoming nightmares inside an insecure mind. That evening, Lily called him. "I have amazing news." "What is it?" "I got invited to the university's summer orientation." "That's great. You don't sound excited." "I am. No, you're not." There was a long silence. Finally, Lily sighed. "Ethan, please tell me what's wrong." He looked out the bedroom window. "Nothing." She closed her eyes. "You've been saying nothing for almost a month." "I just don't want to lose you." His voice was barely above a whisper. Lily smiled sadly. "You won't?" "How can you know that?" "Because I love you." It really is that simple. Ethan wanted to believe her. He truly did. But fear was louder than love. A week later, Riverside High held its senior prom. The gymnasium had been transformed into a beautiful ballroom filled with lights, flowers, and music. When Lily walked down the staircase wearing a light blue dress, Ethan forgot how to breathe. She smiled shyly. "What? You look at me like you've never seen me before?" "I haven't." "Not like this." She laughed. "You clean up pretty well yourself." They danced for hours. They took dozens of photos. For one magical evening, it felt as though nothing could ever come between them. Near the end of the night, they slipped outside onto the school balcony. The stars stretched across the sky. Lily rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. "I've been thinking." "About what?" "Our future." She looked at him with hopeful eyes. "We could make long-distance work. We can video call every night. We'll visit during holidays. I'll come home whenever I can. And after graduation from college," she smiled, "we'll finally build that dream house we've been drawing." Ethan looked at her. She had planned everything. Every obstacle, every solution, every dream. except one, his fear. The following Monday, final exam results were posted. Lily had graduated at the top of her class. The principal congratulated her in front of everyone. Reporters from the local newspaper even interviewed her. Ethan clapped louder than anyone else. But afterward, as students gathered around Lily, he quietly walked away. He didn't notice Lily watching him leave. That afternoon, Noah caught up with him in the parking lot. "You're doing it again." "What?" "Running away." "I'm not." "You think you're protecting her." Ethan stopped walking. Noah looked him straight in the eyes. "My parents almost divorced because my dad kept deciding what was best for everyone instead of talking." "You know what my mom said?" Ethan remained silent. "Love isn't mind reading. If you don't tell Lily what's going on, she'll make up her own explanation." Those words stayed with Ethan all night. 2 days later, Lily invited him to visit the old oak tree one last time before graduation. The same tree where they had shared their first lunch together. The same tree where they had promised to face everything side by side. She spread out a blanket. Between them sat a small wooden box tied with a blue ribbon. "I made something for us." Ethan opened it carefully. Inside were photographs, movie tickets, pressed autumn leaves from the Lantern Festival, the winning picture from the photography contest, tiny handwritten notes, and on the very last page, a letter. "Dear future us," it began. "If you're reading this years from now, I hope we never forgot how all of this started. I hope we're still chasing our dreams, still making each other laugh, and still choosing each other every single day." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Lily smiled. "I wanted us to open it again on our 10th anniversary." He couldn't speak. She reached into her pocket and pulled out another envelope. "I also have something else." It was her scholarship confirmation. She placed it between them. "I've been thinking about turning it down." Ethan's heart stopped. "What?" "If being together means staying here, I'm willing to do it." He stared at her in disbelief. "No." She nodded. "I've thought about it for weeks. My dream has always included you. I don't want a future that costs me the person I love." Ethan slowly stood up. His heart was pounding. This was exactly what he had feared. The girl he loved was preparing to sacrifice everything for him. And in that moment, he convinced himself there was only one way to stop her, even if it meant destroying both of their hearts. The words he was about to say would haunt him for the next 10 years. Ethan felt as though the entire world had gone silent. The old oak tree, the afternoon breeze, the laughter of students in the distance, none of it mattered anymore. He looked at Lily. She was smiling hopefully, waiting for his answer. "I can turn down the scholarship," she said softly. "We'll both go to the state college. We'll still become architects. We'll just take a different path." Tears filled Ethan's eyes. She was willing to give up the biggest opportunity of her life. For him, and somehow, instead of feeling loved, he felt terrified. "No." Lily looked confused. "What do you mean?" "You have to accept it. I know it's an amazing opportunity, but I don't want to lose us." Ethan lowered his head. "You already have." Her smile slowly disappeared. "What?" He forced himself to keep speaking. Each word felt like a knife. "I don't think this relationship has a future." Lily stared at him. "I don't understand." "You don't have to. I've been thinking about it for a while. I don't love you anymore." The sentence hung in the air like thunder. Lily's face turned pale. She searched his eyes, hoping to find some sign that he was joking. There was none, at least none that she could see. "Ethan, please don't do this." "I'm telling the truth." "No." She shook her head, tears running down her cheeks. "You're lying. You don't look at someone the way you look at me if you've stopped loving them." He looked away. "I've changed." "When?" He couldn't answer. "Tell me what I did wrong." "You didn't do anything." "Then why?" Silence. "Ethan?" She reached for his hand. He stepped backward. "I think it's better if we end things now." She stood frozen. The wooden memory box still rested between them, filled with photographs, dreams, promises, a future they had imagined together. Lily slowly picked it up. "So, everything we've been through. It meant nothing." Ethan felt his heart breaking. It meant something. "But it's over." For the first time since they had met, Lily looked at him like a complete stranger. Without another word, she turned and walked away. She never looked back. Only after she disappeared beyond the football field did Ethan finally collapse onto the grass. He buried his face in his hands. and cried harder than he ever had in his life. Graduation arrived 3 days later. The ceremony should have been one of the happiest moments of their lives. Instead, it was painfully quiet. Students celebrated with friends and family. Caps flew into the air. Cameras flashed everywhere. Ethan spotted Lily standing across the field in her graduation gown. She was smiling for photographs, but the smile never reached her eyes. Several times their eyes met. Neither of them walked toward the other. Neither of them spoke. When the ceremony ended, Lily boarded a car with her parents. Just before the door closed, she looked at Ethan one final time. He wanted to run to her. He wanted to tell her everything, that he still loved her, that he had lied, that he only wanted her to chase her dream. But his feet refused to move. The car pulled away. He watched it disappear until it became nothing more than a tiny dot on the horizon. That was the last time he saw her. A week later, Noah visited Ethan's house. He found Ethan sitting alone in his room. The walls were covered with architecture sketches, but he hadn't drawn anything for days. Noah looked around. "Where's the picture?" "What picture?" "The one of you and Lily." Ethan opened a drawer. Inside lay the framed photograph from the school photography contest. He had hidden it away. "I couldn't look at it anymore." Noah sighed. "Do you still love her?" Ethan laughed bitterly. "I never stopped." "Then why did you lie?" "Because she deserved better." Noah shook his head. "No, she deserved the truth." Summer passed. Lily left for Pacific University. Ethan enrolled at the local state college. Life moved forward, but neither of them truly moved on. Every morning, Ethan reached for his phone before remembering there would be no good morning message. Every Friday evening, he drove past the little diner where they used to share a chocolate milkshake. The elderly waitress noticed him sitting alone. "Where's your girlfriend?" Ethan forced a smile. "We broke up." She looked genuinely saddened. "I always thought you two would grow old together." "So did I." He quietly stared at the empty seat across from him. The second straw still came with every milkshake. He never asked them to remove it, because a part of him, no matter how unrealistic it seemed, still hoped Lily might walk through the door one more time. But she never did. 10 years passed faster than Ethan ever imagined. The shy high school boy who once filled notebooks with impossible dreams had become a respected architect. His designs appeared in magazines. His firm had won national awards. Clients admired his creativity. Colleagues respected his work. From the outside, he had built the life he once dreamed about. Yet every Friday evening, he still stopped at the same little diner on his way home. The elderly waitress still recognized him immediately. "The usual?" He smiled. "The usual." She placed one chocolate milkshake on the table, with 2 straws. Neither of them ever mentioned it. Some traditions were too painful to explain. One Monday morning, Ethan's manager walked into his office carrying a folder. "I've got good news." Ethan looked up from his sketches. "We've been invited to the International Urban Design Conference in Chicago." "Congratulations. You've been selected to present our newest project." Ethan nodded. "When do we leave?" "Next Thursday." The conference attracted architects from around the world. Hundreds of designers filled the enormous exhibition hall. As Ethan adjusted the display board for his presentation, someone accidentally bumped into him. "I'm so sorry." The voice froze him in place. He knew that voice, even after 10 years. Slowly, he turned around. Standing only a few feet away was Lily. She looked older, more confident. Her hair was shorter. She wore a navy blue business suit with an architect's badge clipped to her jacket. But her smile, her eyes, they were exactly the same. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. "Ethan?" She whispered his name as though she wasn't sure he was real. "Hi, Lily." They stood there awkwardly while dozens of people walked past them. Finally, Lily smiled politely. "It's been a long time." "Yeah, 10 years. You look happy." He hesitated. "You too." Both of them knew they were lying. Later that afternoon, Ethan attended a presentation by another design firm. When the speaker walked onto the stage, it was Lily. She confidently explained her award-winning sustainable housing project. The audience applauded several times. Ethan couldn't stop smiling. She had done it. She had achieved every dream they had once sketched together beneath the old oak tree. After the presentation ended, people crowded around Lily with questions. She answered everyone with confidence. Then, her eyes found Ethan across the room. She quietly excused herself from the crowd. Would you like to get some coffee? He smiled. I'd like that. They found a quiet cafe across the street from the convention center. At first, the conversation felt strangely formal. So, how have you been? Busy. You? The same. They laughed awkwardly. Then silence returned. Finally, Lily looked out the window. I got married. Ethan's smile disappeared. Oh, she glanced back at him. It lasted 2 years. I'm divorced now. He nodded slowly. I'm sorry. She shrugged gently. We wanted different things. What about you? He looked down at his coffee. I never got married. No one special? He smiled sadly. There was. But I let her go. Lily lowered her eyes. Neither of them needed to ask who he meant. As the afternoon stretched on, the awkwardness slowly disappeared. Soon they were laughing about high school memories, their old art teacher, Noah's terrible jokes, the photography contest, the chocolate milkshakes. For the first time in years, talking to Lily felt effortless again. As they prepared to leave, Lily suddenly stopped. Ethan, he turned, I've wanted to ask you something for 10 years. His heart began racing. She looked directly into his eyes. Why? He froze. What do you mean? Why did you leave me? I've replayed that day thousands of times. I kept wondering what I did wrong. I wondered if there was someone else. I wondered if I wasn't enough. Her voice trembled. But none of those answers ever made sense. A tear rolled down her cheek. So tell me the truth. What really happened beneath that oak tree? Ethan closed his eyes. For 10 years, he had carried the answer alone. He took a long, shaky breath. There wasn't anyone else. I never stopped loving you. Lily stared at him without blinking. What? I lied. The words finally escaped. I was terrified. I thought you'd give up your scholarship because of me. I thought I'd hold you back. I thought you deserved someone better. So I convinced myself the only way to protect your future was to make you hate me. Silence filled the cafe. Lily's tears flowed freely now. You idiot. He nodded. I know. She shook her head in disbelief. For 10 years. I thought I wasn't enough. I spent 10 years trying to understand why the boy who promised to stay suddenly stopped loving me. Ethan could barely speak. I'm so sorry. She wiped away her tears. You should have trusted me. We could have figured it out together. We could have survived long distance. We could have chased our dreams. Together. Ethan lowered his head. I know that now. Another long silence passed. Then Lily reached across the table. She gently placed her hand over his. For the first time in a decade, neither of them pulled away. 10 years passed faster than Ethan ever imagined. The shy high school boy who once filled notebooks with impossible dreams had become a respected architect. His designs appeared in magazines. His firm had won national awards. Clients admired his creativity. Colleagues respected his work. From the outside, he had built the life he once dreamed about. Yet every Friday evening, he still stopped at the same little diner on his way home. The elderly waitress still recognized him immediately. The usual? He smiled. The usual. She placed one chocolate milkshake on the table. With 2 straws. Neither of them ever mentioned it. Some traditions were too painful to explain. One Monday morning, Ethan's manager walked into his office carrying a folder. I've got good news. Ethan looked up from his sketches. We've been invited to the International Urban Design Conference in Chicago. Congratulations. You've been selected to present our newest project. Ethan nodded. When do we leave? Next Thursday. The conference attracted architects from around the world. Hundreds of designers filled the enormous exhibition hall. As Ethan adjusted the display board for his presentation, someone accidentally bumped into him. I'm so sorry. The voice froze him in place. He knew that voice. Even after 10 years, slowly, he turned around. Standing only a few feet away was Lily. She looked older, more confident. Her hair was shorter. She wore a navy blue business suit with an architect's badge clipped to her jacket. But her smile, her eyes, they were exactly the same. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Ethan? She whispered his name as though she wasn't sure he was real. Hi, Lily. They stood there awkwardly while dozens of people walked past them. Finally, Lily smiled politely. It's been a long time. Yeah, 10 years. You look happy. He hesitated. You too. Both of them knew they were lying. Later that afternoon, Ethan attended a presentation by another design firm. When the speaker walked onto the stage, it was Lily. She confidently explained her award-winning sustainable housing project. The audience applauded several times. Ethan couldn't stop smiling. She had done it. She had achieved every dream they had once sketched together beneath the old oak tree. After the presentation ended, people crowded around Lily with questions. She answered everyone with confidence. Then, her eyes found Ethan across the room. She quietly excused herself from the crowd. "Would you like to get some coffee?" He smiled. "I'd like that." They found a quiet cafe across the street from the convention center. At first, the conversation felt strangely formal. "So, how have you been?" "Busy. You?" "The same." They laughed awkwardly. Then silence returned. Finally, Lily looked out the window. "I got married." Ethan's smile disappeared. "Oh." She glanced back at him. "It lasted 2 years." "I'm divorced now," he nodded slowly. "I'm sorry." She shrugged gently. "We wanted different things." "What about you?" He looked down at his coffee. "I never got married." "No one special?" He smiled sadly. "There was, but I let her go." Lily lowered her eyes. Neither of them needed to ask who he meant. As the afternoon stretched on, the awkwardness slowly disappeared. Soon they were laughing about high school memories, their old art teacher, Noah's terrible jokes, the photography contest, the chocolate milkshakes. For the first time in years, talking to Lily felt effortless again. As they prepared to leave, Lily suddenly stopped. "Ethan," he turned. "I've wanted to ask you something for 10 years. His heart began racing. She looked directly into his eyes. "Why?" He froze. "What do you mean?" "Why did you leave me?" I've replayed that day thousands of times. I kept wondering what I did wrong. I wondered if there was someone else. I wondered if I wasn't enough. Her voice trembled. But none of those answers ever made sense. A tear rolled down her cheek. "So tell me the truth. What really happened beneath that oak tree?" Ethan closed his eyes. For 10 years, he had carried the answer alone. He took a long, shaky breath. There wasn't anyone else. "I never stopped loving you." Lily stared at him without blinking. "What?" "I lied." The words finally escaped. "I was terrified. I thought you'd give up your scholarship because of me. I thought I'd hold you back. I thought you deserved someone better. So I convinced myself the only way to protect your future was to make you hate me." Silence filled the cafe. Lily's tears flowed freely now. "You idiot." He nodded. "I know." She shook her head in disbelief. "For 10 years. I thought I wasn't enough. I spent 10 years trying to understand why the boy who promised to stay suddenly stopped loving me." Ethan could barely speak. "I'm so sorry." She wiped away her tears. "You should have trusted me. We could have figured it out together. We could have survived long distance. We could have chased our dreams together." Ethan lowered his head. "I know that now." Another long silence passed. Then Lily reached across the table. She gently placed her hand over his. For the first time in a decade, neither of them pulled away. 6 months after their engagement, Ethan and Lily stood together on a quiet hillside, overlooking the city they had once dreamed of designing as teenagers. The setting sun painted the skyline in shades of gold and orange. Lily rested her head against Ethan's shoulder. "Do you remember the first building you ever drew?" Ethan laughed. "The one that looked like it was about to fall over?" She nodded. "You insisted it was modern art." "It was. It was terrible." They both laughed. For the first time in years, their laughter carried no sadness, only peace. Wedding preparations quickly became a family affair. Ethan's mother cried almost every time she saw Lily trying on dresses. "I knew you'd come back." Lily smiled. "I almost didn't." His mother gently squeezed her hand. "But you did. And that's all that matters." Noah was, of course, chosen as Ethan's best man. During one fitting for the tuxedos, Noah couldn't stop teasing him. You could have saved us all 10 years if you'd just listened to me." Ethan rolled his eyes. "You've been waiting a decade to say that." "I absolutely have." They laughed. Then Noah became serious. "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For finally believing you deserve to be loved." Ethan looked down for a moment. "It took me long enough." A week before the wedding, Lily asked Ethan to meet her at the little diner they used to visit every Friday after school. The elderly waitress recognized them the moment they walked through the door. She stopped in the middle of taking another customer's order. Her eyes widened. "No, it can't be." Lily smiled. "It's really us." The waitress hurried over and hugged them both. "I prayed I'd see this day." She disappeared into the kitchen before either of them could respond. A few minutes later, she returned carrying a single chocolate milkshake with 2 straws. I've been waiting 10 years to serve this again. Neither Ethan nor Lily could hold back their tears. They shared the milkshake exactly as they had in high school. Some memories were simply too beautiful to leave behind. On the morning of the wedding, the old oak tree stood quietly in the gentle autumn breeze. Instead of choosing a grand ballroom, Ethan and Lily decided to hold the ceremony beneath the tree that had witnessed every chapter of their story. Their first lunch, their first confession, their heartbreaking goodbye, their joyful reunion. Now, their beginning. Friends from high school gathered beneath the branches. Former teachers smiled proudly. Noah adjusted his tie one last time before whispering, "Don't mess this up." Ethan laughed nervously. "I don't plan to." Music filled the air as Lily walked toward him. She wasn't the shy 17-year-old girl anymore. She was confident, strong, graceful. Yet when their eyes met, Ethan saw the same warmth that had changed his life on the first day of senior year. The officiant smiled. Love is rarely perfect. It is tested, it is challenged, and sometimes it finds its way back after years apart. He looked at Ethan. "Do you promise to choose honesty over fear?" "I do." He turned to Lily. "Do you promise to face every challenge together, no matter how difficult?" "I do." Moments later, they exchanged rings. The applause echoed across the hillside. As Ethan kissed Lily, golden leaves drifted gently from the oak tree above them, almost exactly as they had 10 years earlier during the Lantern Festival. 1 year later, Ethan and Lily opened their own architectural firm together. Above the entrance hung a small wooden sign, Oak and Carter Design Studio. Clients often asked why an oak tree appeared in the company logo. Ethan and Lily always smiled. It reminds us where every great story begins. Inside the office, framed on the wall, was the photograph that had won the high school photography contest years before. Beneath it was another photograph, their wedding beneath the same oak tree. Between the 2 frames sat the old memory box, still filled with photographs, still holding the letter titled, "Dear Future Us." One quiet evening after work, Lily opened the box once more. She unfolded the letter and smiled. We finally became the future they were writing about. Ethan wrapped an arm around her shoulders. They'd be proud of us. Lily looked out the office window toward the city they now helped design together. We lost 10 years. Ethan nodded. But we didn't lose forever. She smiled. No, we found our way home. As the lights of the city sparkled outside, Ethan realized that first love is rarely perfect. It can be interrupted by fear, separated by distance, silenced by misunderstandings. But when 2 people are willing to tell the truth, forgive the past, and choose each other again, sometimes first love becomes the love that lasts a lifetime. The end.